Ever since Nick Khan arrived in the wrestling world, he has become one of the most well-known names. He's made extensive changes to the most famous professional wrestling company. While he's become famous, not all the feedback he has received is positive. In fact, he quickly became one of the most hated names in wrestling. And we're looking at the changes Nick Khan made, the ones that are helping WWE, as well as the ones that are not. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Over the last decade, NXT has had top stars like Shinsuke Nakamura, Adam Cole, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens over the years. Most of these wrestlers are now the ones helping lead WWE's main roster. Now the focus has shifted from independent stars to athletes with the Next in Line program, which will allow college athletes a path into WWE. This also allows WWE to sign high-profile talent like the Cavender twins and AJ Ferrari. While this might look like a good opportunity, fans were not happy with what this meant for the program. With WWE looking to sign younger stars and taller male talent, it meant that a large portion of the indie wrestling stars would not get a chance in the company. Nick Khan's changes make sense from a business point of view, still WWE might miss out on the next big indie star. As argued, while there are many downsides to WWE's new policy, Nick Khan explained the reasoning behind this change. In terms of an NXT rebrand, look for it in the next couple of weeks. It's going to have a whole new look, it's going to have a whole new feel, and we believe, because a lot of the indie wrestlers, if you will, have come through our system and are in our system with SmackDown and Raw now. We don't want to just keep doing that same thing, we want to look elsewhere for great young talent. However, looking at the work that Khan has put in, NXT was always supposed to be a developmental brand, and hiring younger stars might give WWE the perfect opportunity to forge their own star who becomes the next big thing in the company. While not hiring indie talent seems like a mistake, at the same time this approach is not without its own merits. When the pandemic started, the company began unloading stars like there was no tomorrow, with budget cuts being the reason. In the same quarters, WWE made record profits, proving they could have kept the stars in the company. Fans thought the reason for the changes was because of the pandemic and not anything else. Unfortunately, over the next year and a half, WWE continued to release stars, showing that the pandemic was not really the reason for them doing what they were doing. In fact, over the course of 2 years, WWE released more than 100 wrestlers. That in itself was horrifying, but that they were not sorry about doing so was also evident. They didn't just remove wrestlers that were not being used, but also stars who were in the middle of a storyline. Memorably, Aleister Black had just attacked Big E, costing him his chance at the Intercontinental title before he was released. That story never got completed. As a result, fans felt their favorite stars could be released from the company with little to no notice. While releasing stars in the way that WWE has seems unethical, Nick Khan's vision for a company that is not weighed down by a huge wage bill also makes sense. Ever since 2016, WWE has been signing more and more stars to the company. Thanks to the arrival of AEW, the company took on a policy of signing all their stars to long-term contracts in 2019. As a result, whether they were being used or not, quite a lot of stars were present in the company, getting paid ridiculous amounts of money. The company was bloated with stars who seemingly didn't put in that much effort all the time, and had taken on a massive form that needed to be trimmed down. It should be noted that this still does not excuse WWE releasing superstars in the way they did, with losses of stars like Bray Wyatt in particular sticking out. One thing Nick Khan has done is bring about more of a television atmosphere to WWE programming. Unlike before, where top stories were often written by those who had knowledge about the product, nowadays the writers being hired by the company are not really doing a good job at it. They don't know the company and no clue about the wrestlers. The writers being hired might not even be wrestling fans, which is horrifying to think about. Thus, instead of having good stories on WWE these days, these are overly scripted promos and shows that don't make a lot of sense. They're based on how television is arranged, but even so, they don't do the amount of long-term writing that any television show needs. Instead, they are deciding on a weekly basis, which results in a lot of confusion among fans, as stories that were being discussed on one episode are promptly ignored or cast aside the next week. Some other story replaces it, with fans left to make their own decisions about whether these stories were worth it in the first place. While the company is at its lowest popularity in some time, the one thing that Nick Khan has done is ensure the company is more profitable. Khan sealed a $1 billion streaming deal with Peacock that saw WWE offload the hugely expensive WWE network onto a different streaming service. This saw them not only get paid for their video collection, but also not have to maintain the network. Khan talked about how he wanted to approach the business side of WWE, saying, "If it once was a mom and pop shop, Vince certainly didn't believe it was anymore. Part of what I believe he was looking for in bringing in someone from the outside was to make sure the community at large didn't treat it that way. We believe we're a global content company." While Nick Khan has done a good job in charge of the financial side in the company, he has made other moves that are not best for business. If there was one person behind the scenes who knew what fans wanted to see, it was Triple H. Still, thanks to his habit of signing as many indie stars as possible and celebrating them on NXT, Triple H fell out of favor. On top of that, while he was sick, he was sidelined by the company, with Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon taking a bigger hand in NXT. The show has definitely decreased in quality since Triple H's absence, and with Nick Khan now rumored to be the one who will take over after Vince McMahon, fans have reason to worry. Too many celebrities are not good for pro wrestling. When they are there, the shows tend to revolve entirely around them, and they are such that they cannot even wrestle themselves. Since Nick Khan came on board, celebrity appearances have definitely increased. However, shockingly, the result has been good. These celebrities have all put on shows that have impressed the fan base. Leaving alone Pat McAfee, whose segments at WrestleMania were the highlights of the show, others have also showcased their skills. Bad Bunny shocked everyone by his wrestling skills during WrestleMania 37. Since then, Logan Paul also impressed, showing what he could do in the ring. However, even someone like Johnny Knoxville, who so obviously could not wrestle, had a fun and ridiculous outing at Mania. These appearances are crucial for the company as it allows them to be featured in mainstream media. And these were the good and bad changes Nick Khan has made to WWE. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.